There is a power that has been dormant, not because God forgot about it, because the kind of person who could carry it has been rare. It requires a specific formation, a specific depth of faith, a specific willingness to endure through seasons that most people walk away from. And chosen one, what has been building in you through everything you have walked through, is not ordinary spiritual growth. Something has been activated in you that the world has not seen expressed at this level in a very long time. Number one, the rarest power is not the most dramatic. It is the most enduring. When people think of power, they often imagine the sudden and the spectacular, the moment that changes everything in an instant, the visible demonstration that leaves no room for doubt. But the power that has been activated in you is not primarily that kind of power. It is something deeper, more rooted, more consistent. It is the power of a life that has been through everything designed to destroy it and has not been destroyed, that has endured through seasons of silence and opposition and delay without losing its fundamental orientation toward God, that has kept faith alive through conditions that should have extinguished it. That endurance is itself a power, and it is rare, not because the calling to it is rare, but because the willingness to actually walk through what the formation requires is rare. Many are called to the depth that produces this kind of endurance. Few are willing to go through what is required to get there. You went through it, and what was activated in the going through is now available to work in ways that require the full formation it took to produce. Number two, the hidden power was always there. Suffering was not the source, it was the revealer. This is important to understand. The power that is being described in this message was not created by the difficulty you went through. It was not manufactured by the pain or produced by the endurance. It was placed in you by God before any of the difficult seasons began. It was there before the trials, before the waiting, before the testing. What the difficult seasons did was reveal it, strip away the layers that were covering it, remove the things that were obscuring it from full expression. The suffering was not the source of the power, it was the process by which the power that was always there was brought to the surface. This distinction matters because it means the power belongs to you, not because of what you suffered, but because of who God made you to be. The difficulty was not what qualified you. The God who placed the calling in you is what qualified you. The difficulty was just what the revealing required. You carry what you carry not because you earned it through pain, because God placed it in you with purpose, and the journey revealed what was always there. Number three, every great movement in history began with one person who activated something others had forgotten was possible. Look at the pattern across history. Moments where something shifted in the world began with one person who believed something was possible that the people around them had stopped believing, who carried a conviction that refused to be adjusted by the discouragement of the environment, who operated from a place of spiritual depth that the circumstances could not reach. These were not superhuman people. They were chosen ones who had been through the formation that their specific assignment required, who had been pressed into the depth that the moment they were made for demanded, who showed up at the specific intersection of their specific calling and their specific generation with everything the journey had built in them, and what they carried changed things. Not because of their excellence alone, because of the specific power that was activated in them through the specific formation they walked through, the power that endures, that stays grounded, that does not shift with the temperature of the culture around it. You are standing at that kind of intersection, the formation behind you, the moment in front of you, and what has been activated in you through the journey is what this moment requires. Number four, the power of genuine faith that has been tested is different from faith that has only been declared. There is a difference between the faith that is spoken in comfortable circumstances and the faith that has been tested in difficult ones and held. Both are real, but they are not the same in what they produce. Declared faith says, I believe this is true. Tested faith says, I have believed this through everything that argued against it, and it has proven itself in ways I cannot argue away. Declared faith is the beginning. Tested faith is the foundation. And what can be built on a tested foundation is different from what can be built on a declared one. The faith that has been through your specific seasons and survived them is not the same faith that started the journey. It has been refined, proven, made more certain, not by the absence of doubt, but by the survival of doubt, by the having doubted and the having held on anyway, and the having seen the faithfulness of God on the other side of the holding on. That faith is the power, the specific kind that the world has rarely seen expressed, because the willingness to go through what produces it is rare. And what that faith can do in the world, through a person who carries it fully, is different from what declared faith alone can produce. Number 5. The 2,000 years in the title is not about time. It is about depth. The title of this message points to something that deserves honest explanation. It is not a literal claim that no one in 2,000 years has walked with God or carried significant faith. History is full of chosen ones who carried extraordinary depth and faith and power in every generation. What the title points to is the specific kind of activation that happens in a chosen one who has endured through a formation of unusual depth and emerged with an unusual clarity of purpose. This combination, in its specific expression through your specific life, is genuinely rare. Not one in a generation rare, rarer than that, because it requires not just faith, but tested faith, not just calling, but endured calling, not just a willingness to serve, but a willingness to go through the full process of formation that the serving at this level requires. And throughout history, in every generation, there are fewer of these than the world realizes. You are one of them, not the only one, but genuinely one of the rare ones who has gone through what was required and arrived at what the going through produces. Number 6, what has been activated cannot be deactivated by what comes against it. One of the most important things to understand about the power that has been activated in a chosen one through genuine formation is its stability. It is not activated in favorable conditions and deactivated when conditions change. It does not depend on external circumstances for its continued operation. This is what makes it rare. Most of what the world calls power is circumstantial. It exists when the conditions support it and diminishes when conditions do not. The chosen one who is bold when surrounded by support but diminished when facing opposition is demonstrating conditional power, real but limited. What has been formed in you through seasons where no conditions supported the continuing expression of faith, where everything argued against continued belief, where holding on had no visible reward and every logical argument was for letting go, cannot be deactivated by similar conditions in the future. It has already endured them, and what has endured the worst the opposition can bring is not vulnerable to the same opposition in the same way. Walk in that stability, not as arrogance, as the grounded confidence of a person who knows what they carry has already been tested by what is most likely to come against it, and survived. Number 7, the activation produces something visible in how you carry yourself. People around you can feel something has shifted. They may not be able to name it, but there is a quality in the way you carry yourself now that was not there before the full formation happened. A groundedness, a settledness, a quality of certainty that is not loud but is unmistakable. This is the visible expression of what has been activated, the inner work becoming outer reality, the tested faith producing a presence that is different from what untested faith produces, the endurance of the difficult seasons creating in the chosen one a kind of quiet authority that people respond to without always understanding why. They respond to it because it is real, because they can feel the difference between someone who has been through something and someone who has only heard about it, between someone who has held faith in real darkness and someone who has only declared faith in comfortable light. You have been through the real thing, and it shows, not as performance, as the natural expression of a person who has been genuinely formed. That expression is the beginning of the visible impact of what has been activated in you. Number 8, the world does not know what to do with a person who cannot be moved. In a world where most people are movable, where opinions shift with social pressure and character bends under difficulty and faith dissolves when conditions get hard, the person who cannot be moved stands out. Not because they are trying to stand out, because they are simply being what they have been formed to be, and it unsettles people. The person who has not been formed through difficulty encounters someone who has and does not know how to respond. They try the usual moves: pressure, discouragement, comparison, the suggestion that holding a firm position is rigidity rather than conviction, the implication that the willingness to bend is a sign of wisdom rather than instability. None of it lands the same way on someone who has been genuinely formed, because what those tactics target, the need for approval, the fear of standing alone, the discomfort of being misunderstood, those things have already been addressed in the formation. The chosen one who has endured through the formation does not need the approval of the people trying to move them. And that immovability is itself a kind of power, not the power of stubbornness, the power of knowing what is true and remaining grounded in it, regardless of what the environment prefers. Number 9. The activation is not for you to hold privately, it is for you to give publicly. What has been activated in you was not activated for your private benefit, not for your spiritual satisfaction or your personal sense of having arrived somewhere significant. It was activated for expression, for the people who will be changed by encountering someone who carries what you carry. The power of tested faith, of endured formation, of the specific depth that is produced by going through what most people walk away from. It has an audience. Not in the performance sense, in the sense that there are people in the world right now who need to encounter what you have become, who need to see it, hear it. Be in the presence of someone who is genuinely carrying what they have been told is impossible to carry. You are not the destination, you are the channel, and the channel that has been formed through this much depth carries what flows through it to places that shallower channels cannot reach. Give what has been activated, fully, to the people God places in your path, and trust that the one who activated it knows exactly who needs to receive what flows from it. Number 10, stay in the formation posture even in the expression season. The formation season produces certain habits of the soul. The early morning time with God, the honesty in prayer that does not dress up what is real, the dependence on God that was built because there was nothing else to depend on, the returning to the source consistently rather than only in crisis. These habits are the maintenance of the activation. They are what keep what was activated connected to the source that activated it. And the chosen one who moves into the expression season and gradually abandons the formation habits is the chosen one who finds over time that the expression has lost some of what made it powerful. Stay in the formation posture even when the expression begins, not as performance of humility, as genuine recognition that the power flows from connection to God and that the connection requires maintenance. Keep the morning. Keep the honest prayer, keep the dependence, and watch what the activated power does when it remains consistently connected to the source that turned it on. Number 11, genuine depth of faith produces results that technique alone cannot explain. There is a difference between what skilled people produce and what formed people produce. Skill is real and valuable. The person who has developed technique and knowledge and the ability to execute at a high level is genuinely capable. But what flows from deep formation is something different, something that skilled observers notice but cannot fully account for by pointing to technique. It reaches further, sits longer, changes things at a deeper level, produces results in people that the observer cannot trace back to a specific method or a specific skill set. Because the source of it is not the technique, the source is the depth of the person expressing it and the God who formed that depth and who accompanies the expression of what he built. This is what the 2,000 years in this title is really about. Not that no one has been skilled or gifted in that time, but that the specific combination of depth, tested faith, genuine formation, and the accompanying presence of God is rare at any point in history. And when it is present, the results are different from what skill and technique alone produce. You carry that combination, give it fully, and let the results speak to what no method could fully explain. Number 12. The silence you endured was God building depth that noise cannot produce. Depth cannot be developed in noise, not the kind of depth that produces the activation this message is describing. Noise keeps things on the surface. It fills every available space with stimulation that prevents the kind of quiet internal formation that produces something real. The seasons of silence you endured were not comfortable. They were not what you would have chosen, but they were producing something that could not have been produced any other way. The ability to be still when stillness is required. The capacity to receive in quiet what cannot be received in noise. The groundedness that comes from having had nothing to depend on externally and finding that God in that condition is genuinely enough. That depth cannot be shortcut. It cannot be accelerated by consuming the right content or attending the right events or surrounding yourself with the right people. It forms in the specific conditions of genuine need and genuine turning toward God in that need and genuine finding that He is present and sufficient in ways that only the person who experienced it fully knows. You know it because you lived it. And what it produced in you is operating now in ways that those who avoided the silence cannot access. Number 13, the world needs people who have been to the deep places and come back with something real. There is a specific kind of person the world needs right now. Not the impressive person, not the skilled performer, not the confident presenter of curated spiritual content, the person who has actually been somewhere, who has been in the deep place that most people only talk about and has come back carrying something they could only have found there, something real, something that was not manufactured from the outside but formed from the inside. Something that the person who carries it knows is not their own achievement, because it was built through seasons where their own effort was entirely insufficient. That person is rare, and the world is hungry for what they carry, because the counterfeit is everywhere and the real thing is not. People can feel the difference between the person who talks about the deep place and the person who has actually been there, between the one who describes the formation and the one who has been through it. You have been there, you have come back with something, and the world needs what you brought with you. Give it without apology. The hunger for it is real. Number 14, do not compare your activation to anyone else's expression. The power that has been activated in you expresses itself in a specific way, in your voice, through your particular gifts, in the specific areas where your calling operates. And that expression is unique to you. It is not a variation of someone else's. It is not a lesser version of something more impressive. It is the specific expression of the specific activation that happened in the specific chosen one, who went through the specific formation that produced it. Comparison is one of the most effective ways to diminish what God has placed in a person. The moment you begin measuring your expression against someone else's, you have moved from giving what is yours to evaluating what yours is worth against something else. And that evaluation is always based on incomplete information. You do not know what someone else's journey cost. You do not know what their formation required. You cannot see the full picture of what is being expressed through their life and the full picture of what is being expressed through yours and make an accurate comparison. Give what is yours fully, without looking sideways at what someone else is doing or how it is landing in comparison. Your expression is needed by the people it is designed to reach, and they need the full version of it, not the one that has been edited by comparison. Number 15, activated power without character to carry it causes damage. Character first. This is the caution that must be spoken. The activation is real. The depth is real. The power that has been built through the formation is real. But power without the character to carry it is dangerous, not just to others, to the person carrying it. History has shown this repeatedly. People who carried significant gifts and genuine spiritual power, who had not submitted those gifts to the full formation of character alongside the development of the gift, who expressed power that outpaced their humility, who were used by God in significant ways, while the character issues that were not fully addressed worked silently in the background until they became undeniable. The formation you have been through was not just building the power, it was building the character to carry the power, the humility, the dependence on God, the accountability, the willingness to be corrected, the recognition that the power is not yours, but is held in trust and must be held carefully. Keep building the character. Keep it accountable. Keep it connected to people who speak truth into your life, because the power that operates through strong character produces lasting fruit. The power that operates around weak character eventually falls apart. Character first, chosen one, always. Number 16. What has been activated wants to reach the people no one else is reaching. The specific activation in a specifically formed chosen one has a specific audience. And very often that audience is not the one that is already being reached by the more visible and more celebrated expressions of spiritual gifting. It is the one that those expressions are not reaching. The people who have not been moved by what is already available, who need a different entry point, a different kind of presence, a different kind of story. Your formation produced an ability to reach people who are in the places you have been. the deep places, the silent places, the places where the visible church has not always known how to go, where the polished presentation does not land because the person receiving it knows the presenter has not actually been there. You have been there, and what you carry speaks in the language of those places, reaches the people in those places in ways that only someone who has been there can reach them. Give what you carry to those people specifically, the ones no one else is reaching, the ones who are waiting for someone to show up who has actually been where they are. That is where the activation was always designed to go. Number 17, the first step is always the hardest. After that, it becomes natural. This message ends where it must end, at the place of the step. Because everything that has been described here, the formation, the activation, the rare depth, the power that has been built, it remains theoretical until the chosen one takes the step that brings it from the invisible into the visible. The first step is always the hardest. It requires the most faith because it has the least visible evidence of support. It is the step into what you believe is there before you can see it confirming itself in the visible world. But the first step is also the one that unlocks everything after it. The momentum that builds from the first act of faithful expression makes the second one easier, and the second makes the third easier, until what began as the most difficult step becomes the most natural movement, the giving of what was activated becoming as ordinary as breathing, because it is simply what the person does now, what they are. Take the first step, chosen one, whatever it looks like for your specific calling in your specific season, the small visible act that brings the invisible formation into the world. Take it, the rest will follow. Number 18, history is written by the ones who acted on what God activated in them. History does not remember the people who carried significant formation and kept it to themselves, who were deeply formed and wisely discerning, but who never fully moved into the expression of what the formation produced, who spent their lives in the preparation and never quite arrived at the giving. It remembers the ones who acted, who took the tested faith and the endured formation and the activated depth and brought it out into the world, who gave what they carried to the people who needed it, who said yes to the step that brought the invisible into the visible. Those are the ones whose stories get told, whose contribution moves forward through time, whose faithfulness in their specific moment planted seeds that are still growing in generations they never met. You have been through the formation. Something has been activated. And the world is waiting for the person who will act on what was built in them, who will step forward, who will give fully what was prepared fully. Be that person, chosen one. Act on what God activated. Write your part of the story that will still be being told long after this season is memory. Like this video, if you felt this message reach something real in you, subscribe to this channel because what is coming for this season was written for the chosen one who is stepping into their activation. Share this with someone who has been through a deep formation and needs to know what it was building. And comment below with the word activated because that is exactly what you are. God bless you, chosen one. The power is real. The time is now. Step into it. Thumbnail text. What God built in you, the world has not seen. Number 19. The world is different because you endured. That matters more than you know. Every chosen one who walks through the full formation and arrives at the expression of what was built changes the world around them. Not always in ways that make headlines. Sometimes in the quiet, consistent, daily giving of what they carry to the people in their path. But the world is different because of it. The person who received the testimony and turned around from a destructive path, the person who heard the truth and found the courage to change direction, the person who encountered someone who had actually been through the deep place and for the first time felt genuinely understood. Those people carry forward what they received into their families, their communities, their own callings. The ripple from one activated chosen one moving faithfully through their generation is not small. It moves forward in ways that cannot be fully measured from the starting point. Your endurance produced something. Your formation produced something. And what it produced is now in the world and moving, not because you engineered it, because you stayed faithful through what was required to produce it. That matters more than you know, and more than this moment can show you. Walk forward knowing that. Every faithful step carries weight that extends beyond what you can see. God bless you, chosen one.